Hello, welcome back to my channel, Chess Captures Threats. In today's video, we are going over the London system. So this is part of our Learn the Openings. We had the Nimzo Indian last time, so hopefully now we're going to go over a white opening now. So, the London system is where we're going to play d4 opening, and then we have a series of moves that you normally would play in a set, as we call it a system, because we can mess around with the move order, but most of the time we end up in the same position. So, we start off with d4, obviously, and they're going to apply d5. Now, we can do this a few ways already. Now, most of the time you can play just bishop f4, but we're going to start off with knight f3, knight f6, and then bishop f4. So this is already classified as London system here. So, getting these knights out already. Now, they're going to play something like, do not take black's moves right now for what they're going to actually play. I'm just trying to show you what it looks like for white, and then we'll go over all the challenges white will have to face, and then what black can also do to counter it. So, e3. Now the reason for this is we want to get our bishop out, so that's good. Then let's say here now we're going to play c3. Now this is what we call the pyramid here. Very simple, you know, we understand what that is, and it puts good protection onto this d4 pawn. And after this move, we want to put our bishop inside the pyramid. This gives us a nice little overview of over here. Now we want to put our knight onto d2, and then our queen can go onto e2, or we castle. Either way, we want to end up something like this. So, hopefully we can see what the moves are there. Not too hard. If you just, we'll go over them a few more times, but let's see what we can actually do with this in this position. So the main idea in the London is for e4, because here we have 3 on this, so we could technically push it at the minute, but what we're looking to do is get this pawn as high up as possible, because if we can get it to e5, we've changed that pyramid into a very nice pawn chain, we'll call it. So, but there's also other ideas we can do. It's very flexible with this opening, where we can actually go all the way to the queen side quite quickly with the knights and bishops, because this bishop is facing both ways in the pyramid, because it's that good, because the pawns are around it. The queen, most of the time, will just follow this pawn at the minute, and we also have ideas for stuff like knight e5 and getting our rooks again to c1 and e1, I would say. Okay, I would say it's a bit difficult to decide what way your pawns want to go. Normally we can judge by, you know, the angle of the pawns, but it's the same thing either side. So honestly, I would say whatever's best in that position. So we could probably push b and a4, you know, in this scenario, maybe because this pawn might be quite weak. You know, if they weakened this, you know, square, we might want to try and attack it. You know, there's all that. So, okay. Now we're going to see some of the ways black can fight this. So, straight away, after this, if they play c6, you've got to worry, because if you play e3, like we followed before, you know, normal, they have the move queen to b6. Now this is a very, very annoying move for white, because to stop this pawn, you've either got to play b3, which ruins your c3 ideas, really, because you haven't got that pyramid, or you play your queen to c1, which just looks very bad. So, how can we counter this? Whenever they play c6 here, you immediately follow it up. Now, this is because after this queen move, you can play either queen c2, probably the better way, the more defensive way, or if you want to really go aggressive, you can even go queen to b3. Now, yes, you get double pawned, but many people prefer this. If you don't want to be double pawned like this, then go to c2, but this gives you a nice rook lift that you might be able to go for, and, you know, easy development still, so nothing's blocking anything. So there. Now, that's quite not a trap, but you've just got to be wary of that. Now, if they're going to follow up, this is called the symmetrical London. Obviously, they've followed suit with us. Now, obviously, that means it's going to stop our bishop getting to this square, but we can still play it. So, if we still follow this, we could still push this pawn, and let's say they try to copy us even here, we can play this bishop move. Because our queen is protecting, that's why a lot of time you'll actually see even like this. It's a very, very difficult position to understand sometimes, but as long as you still use your moves, as we know being a system, whatever move order you want, maybe you want to get the knights out, then the bishops, but you've just got to be careful as well as if they don't take and they play a knight move, do not play the knight d2. That is just a quick, you could easily blunder your bishop there because it gets rid of the protector. But obviously, most of the time we want to take because it double pawns them. Okay, and obviously, just say if they do take, your queen is already in a very nice position and you're still looking at e4. Okay, same thing goes here if they play after, let's say this happened and they did play this bishop move and we don't worry about this. This isn't too bad for us. The most normal move here is going back. Now the reason for this is if they do take, you take with a H pawn and look at the line you'll have, because if they castle, that pawn will be extremely weak. Our knight can come in after we do trade here. Looking at this, it's already putting pressure here. And don't wait until a queen gets involved. It's going to be, can be quite terrifying for them. But that's what we want to do. A kingside attack like that can really change it up. So there is that. So, just to remind one more time that as white, what you want is d4. Now, either knight f6 or bishop f4. Now, the only issue I'd say with bishop f4 sometimes is that they might immediately play that because they know what's going to happen, but you do know how to counter it. So then we're going to play knight to, after these two moves, let's just say it still was like this. Then they're going to play e6, we play e3. If they play a bishop move like this, we play c3. We play bishop d3. Our knight to d2. Castles and queen to e2. This is the most natural position we'll have with the pieces. So again, we've ended up in the same position with at least our pieces. So here is that. So it's a very good open for white. Obviously, this is the line the openings are for white and black. So hopefully, as black, you still understand what we can do with the bishops and the queens. Don't get me wrong, your ideas are to stop e4. So try and do that. But if you can't, maybe try and do an attack queen side. Keep protection on the king side as black. And as white, you can attack from anywhere. You can try and switch it up mid-game to try and decoy them into a queen side attack, but really attacking the king. So there's all of that. So that is it for the London system today. Now, hopefully you understood that now a system, we can play all the certain moves just in different move order, and how in the end we can get a position like this in which we have much we can do and we still have good ideas. So it's an easy opening to learn. We're kind of given the moves, so you've just got to be a little bit, the sharper lines there, that obviously with the queen and the bishops, you've got to be careful if they bring knights in as well. So that is it for today's video, so thank you and bye bye.